I've just had a question on my last video there, and I thought I'd just jump on straight away. And you'll have to excuse the hair because I just went to the post office and it is pouring down with rain. And I usually like to set up the camera and stuff and make it all nice and all that, but I just thought I'm just going to jump straight on here and get to the point. So the question was, did I use brain retraining? And did I use the Optimum Health Clinic's approach? And this is Pepsi, by the way. So in short, yes, brain retraining was a part of my recovery, and I did use the Optimum Health Clinic's approach. But I think I spoke a bit about this in my video I made on the Optimum Health Clinic. It was definitely a crucial part of my recovery, but I would say for me personally, it wasn't everything. And I know a lot of people, like I've heard of these amazing stories of people who recovered just through brain retraining, which seems to be very possible, and it's amazing if that happens for you, but that wasn't the case for me, but it definitely was a big part of it. And the Optimum Health Clinic's approach of brain retraining, I think from what I gather, it seems to be quite similar to other approaches like the lightning process, and I think ANS Rewire, Gupta program. All those ones, they do seem to have a lot of similarities. So basically I can't really explain how it works, but in a nutshell, it's at least the Optimum Health Clinic's approach was sort of identifying energy draining patterns and then sort of learning how to stop and interrupt those patterns. And then eventually it becomes second nature. So Pepsi looking at the camera. So for me, that was a big thing because I had a lot of energy draining patterns, like, for example, mind blending, which is when your mind is going a million miles an hour just constantly, and also the mental tennis, especially during my recovery when I was just constantly, worrying, am I getting sicker? And, if I do this, I'm going to feel worse. But then, that mental tennis. So using the brain retraining to interrupt those thoughts was really useful, and eventually they happen less, and you kind of do feel like you have more energy because your energy is not being drained because of these patterns. So that's just one example of how the brain retraining helped me, but it's quite a wide area and there's quite a lot to it. But I would say that it's definitely worthwhile looking into because it can really complement other approaches that you might be taking in your recovery. And also it can really help sort of calm the stress response as well, which I found really useful. And I'd recommend, I actually looked at the Curable app, and even though it's more directed towards chronic pain, the lessons and stuff in it, like I would say, like apply to CFS as well. And I know, like I have heard of people using it, and that, some people have recovered through using that app because it uses similar brain retraining techniques as the ones I learned at the Optimum Health Clinic. But I don't know, this is me personally, like for some reason I found actually seeing a clinic and paying, even though it was a lot of money, there was something about, like, I guess it kept me committed in a way because I had paid for it. And because there was like someone at the other end, it kept me accountable. And then for me, in the 90-day program I was with a group of people. There was like 5 of us, I think. I find that useful. But I have to say, I was looking at I think, is it called ANS Rewire? I might be wrong about that. I really like the look of that one as well, the way it's laid out and stuff, and it is a good bit cheaper too, so it's definitely worth looking around. And I would also recommend looking at the Chronic Comeback podcast. He has interviewed quite a few of these people that do these brain retraining programs, including the guy from the Rewire one, and it's definitely worth listening to those, and it's really interesting. You can sort of hear like the similarities, the differences, and then he also interviews Pepsi's face. He also interviews people who have used these programs as well, so that'll probably give you a lot more information than I can say. But yeah, in short, it was a big part of my recovery. It wasn't everything, but it was, I guess I would say it did feel quite crucial, and especially in the management, I think, as in the mental management. Yeah, it was a big part of that. The only thing with it is that you really just have to be consistent, which is quite hard because really, you know, as you'll know, if you're watching this, recovery can be very slow and up and down. So it can be quite hard to stay consistent. But for me, using the OHC approach, like I was having to do that a lot. And eventually, you know, you do see progress. But yeah, that's that. Like, I don't do it anymore. I still do meditation. I still do yoga. And I still have these sort of techniques in the back of my head. Like, I catch myself on when I know that I'm, you know, my mind's going a million miles an hour. But I know that I'm not very good at stopping it now. So yeah, I could probably do with revisiting some of those principles. Yeah, and another thing that we learned on that OHC course was EFT, which yeah, I guess I don't know if that would be considered a brain retraining technique, but there's tons of videos on that online. That's another thing that I found useful. So, but anyway, I am on my lunch break at the minute, so I have to go back to work here, and I hope that was useful. It was a very good question anyway. But yeah, I'm going to go back to work, and my doggies are going to continue to sleep. There's two of them. That's Amber down there, and that's Pepsi up there. So, thank you if you watched this, and goodbye.